Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining this Helsinki session. My name is Arisa Ida from Forbes, Japan, and I would be the moderator for this session. We have here three special guests, and surprisingly, they're all in Tokyo right now. And so I would like to ask them to introduce themselves first. Inoue-san, do you want to start first?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Let me share my slide.
Oh, there is another slide. Okay, that's me.
Okay.
Can you go to the next slide, please, where there's Inoue-san's slide? Yes, that's better. Yes, our first guest is Inoue-san. Could you introduce yourself?
Yes, sure. Hi, my name is Jun Inoue. I am the CEO of Reaktor Japan. And Reaktor originally is from Helsinki, Finland. And we started back in 2000. So we're exactly 20 years old this year. So that's not exactly a startup company, but we're a startup at heart. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Reaktor, what we do. We're a digital consultancy company specializing in strategy, design, and high performance engineering. We are a team of 600 people worldwide. Right now, we have 10 offices across 3 continents, including Tokyo. And yes, we help our clients worldwide. For us, Reaktor Japan here in Tokyo, help clients to succeed in digital service and product. And it ranges from setting up strategies in the beginning all the way to implementation. So in the form of mobile apps or web service, or for example, in-flight digital systems. It takes many various forms. And key principles of our work are collaboration and the teamwork, and also design thinking and agile software development methodologies. And here in Tokyo, we are the team of 20, consisting of strategists, designers, and software developers. And we are servicing Japanese companies to succeed, ranging from startup companies to much bigger enterprise level, more established companies.
Inoue-san, if you want to share any slides from the ones you have, you could right now.
It seems that I'm not able to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
sorry for that.
Yeah, no problem. That's it for me.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's go on to the next guest. Can you go to the next slide, please? TUONONEN Ida-san. Ida, can you start your introduction, please?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm Ida TUONONEN, and I'm the business manager for Nightingale Health Japan. We are a biotech company from Finland, maybe also not quite anymore in the startup phase. We're about 80 plus members, mostly in our headquarters in Helsinki, but also in the US, now in Japan. Myself, I'm here located in Tokyo, as well as in Sweden, but maybe a scale up at this point. Let's see if I can share a few slides. Okay, me neither. So I'll just explain. It seems that when you're sharing the profile, it doesn't work.
I will check the stuff.
That's perfectly fine. But yes, we're all very acutely aware of the current health pandemic that we're living in this moment, and much aware of that one. But we actually have a larger health pandemic that already existed before the COVID came into our lives, and that would be chronic diseases. Huge global costs worldwide, affecting everyone, and leading cause of mortality in the world at the moment, killing almost 40 million people a year. But actually 80% of premature heart disease, chronic diseases and diabetes could be prevented. And that's where Nightingale Health comes in. So we're offering tools to do just that. What we're actually trying to do is change this healthcare system that we have at the moment from sick care, what we're doing now, and treatment, to preventative healthcare. We have a blood testing technology that we now offer for individuals, corporations, and then of course there's a lot of different kinds of applications, from pharma to corporate wellness, and many
Ida, sorry
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. Now you can share the screen. Comment.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let me try to do that. So let's see if we can get there. Not that there is that many slides at all, but let's see.
Great.
Yes. Okay. So this is sort of what I actually already went through. So I'll skip this, but like I said, a huge global problem that's affecting everyone and basically all the countries in the world to a large degree. I think my slides are actually not very valid anymore. I already explained this, but I'll go through. So again, a lot of this could be prevented. So that's what we're trying to do at Nightingale Health. What we work with is metabolomics. So that's where your lifestyle comes into play. So we talk a lot about genetics, and we have a lot of genetic tests, which is good, but that's a static status of your health. And what we can do with metabolomics is we can actually change the risk. And genetics actually adds up for about 20% of chronic diseases, and the rest is lifestyle. So we can actually affect ourselves on our health and what we do. So diet, exercise, sleep, and stress. So everything that we do within our lifestyle habits affects our health, and we can change this. We take one single blood test. We use an NMR technology to analyze that blood. We get loads of information, and then we have our own in-house developed software and technology to use to analyze that data, and we turn that into easily understandable health information for consumers. The best part of this is that you can actually see the changes in real life. So when you do the test again after a few months, you can actually see already if that changed your health status, and that's proven to be very motivating with people. Even small changes can have an effect on your health, so you can follow up, make changes, and then actually prevent from getting a chronic disease and improve your health for a lifelong matter. That's what Nightingale Health does, and then we're aiming to bring this to everyone in the world globally, to have better tools to maintain your health and live a better life. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Inoue-san, now we could share the slide. Do you want to add something with your slide?
That's okay.
That's okay. Okay, great. just asking. So we have our third guest, Marianne. Do you want to start first? Do you want to start now?
Sure. Excellent. Hey, great to be here. My name is Marianne. I'm the VP New Markets at Wolt. Wolt is a Helsinki-based technology company that's delivering food and a retailer across 23 countries in Europe and Asia. We were founded in Helsinki 5 years ago. I joined the company myself 3 years ago, and I've basically led our expansion from 6 countries to the 23 countries where we currently operate in. On top of that, I'm also responsible for our Japanese business right now. Thus, I'm in Tokyo. We have, at the moment, offices in 5 cities. We operate in 5 cities as well, and we're doubling the number of cities where you can order your favorite restaurants with Wolt by end of this year. Before joining Wolt, I spent 5 years building Slush, a technology conference based out of Europe. which we also took to Tokyo and Shanghai and Singapore. Slush brings together the top startups, top investors, and media writing about technology with the aim to help entrepreneurs raise funding, change the environment to be more positive towards entrepreneurs, and then make sure that the entrepreneurs have the talent and the skill set needed to create world-changing companies. That's me in a nutshell.
That's great. Thank you so
Great.
much. Okay, so before we start the discussion, I think I need to talk about myself too a little bit. Why I'm doing this moderator. Can you show the slide, the second slide about me that you prepared before? Yes, thank you so much. I'm Arisa, as I said before, from Forbes Japan. And about my story with Finland, my first time visiting Finland was about two years ago in summer. I joined this young journalist program hosted by Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Finland. And there I actually visited Reaktor's office where INOUE-san is also involved. And it was very, very nice. It was actually 20 days and I wrote 20 articles. That was a nightmare. But actually, aside from writing 20 articles, I really enjoyed Finland and the people, food, culture. And so after that, I went to Finland again twice. Moving to Forbes, I also went to Slush, where Marianne was. Actually, you already joined Wolt that time, I guess. Andreas was the president. I think he was the next president. Yes, and I was amazed with the ecosystem of the startup in Finland and wanted to know more. And we covered it also on the Forbes Japan magazine and also website. So today, with the COVID-19, there were a lot of changes all in the world and also Finland, also in Japan. So I would like to ask you three, like what was the biggest change and also what we could learn from the change. And I would like to go to the first question. So the COVID-19 happened, and would you like to talk about the positive and also the negative side change that you had on your business? And so who would want to talk first? Okay, I'll pick then. Ida, do you want to start?
Sure, I can start. Yes, it's definitely has had its effects. Obviously, I'd say one of the biggest thing is, like for everyone, is the increase of uncertainty to a large extent. For us, we were not have been safe from the effects of COVID, but then at the same time, being a healthcare company, we've also got to enjoy the slight positive side in that sense that there's a very increased sort of focus and interest in the healthcare field. But then at the same time, also a lot of increased demands too. So it has a very bright focus on this area now. So both good and bad sides in that. But of course, we're very happy to be offering solutions for this field. And chronic diseases actually have been now proven to be one of the one of the big effects also behind getting a severe COVID or getting really sick. So trying to prevent that, we feel that we're still in a very important mission also considering COVID. For us operationally, it has actually had quite a big effect. We're in a strategic partnership with Japanese companies and I'm placed here, but we were actually supposed to expand our team from Finland to here earlier this year and no one was able to come. So we're hopefully getting to that soon, but so we were not able to bring the team from Finland here. So we've been doing everything online and remotely and we've managed with that. But of course, with Japan, especially where face-to-face sort of connections still hold a very important meaning in that sense. It has had some effect, but gladly we have some people here and hopefully we'll get the rest of the team here soon as well.
Great, thank you. Yes, that's true that face-to-face communication is also very important in Japan, but I guess that was also a big change for us here, that we will actually get infected if we do that. We keep on doing that. So I guess it will shift to another stage. Thank you so much, Ida. Inoue-san, do you want to share?
Yes. I was talking a little bit about our co-creation principle, working closely with our client stakeholders as well as our own team. So before this whole COVID thing, we were promoting the idea of setting up a team room where everyone who is involved in the project worked together. And all of a sudden, this whole thing fell apart. And because we quickly decided to work remotely to protect ourselves, protect our clients and others who may be affected. So we said, okay, well, what are we going to do? It's quite difficult trying to work together. But quickly, through different trials and errors, we picked up and became creative about setting up sort of virtual team room using all sorts of digital tools. And after a couple of months, we became used to it, and client became used to it, and it's working pretty well now. So that was sort of like a big shift in how we work. But on the positive side, so it was okay. So I wouldn't say it was all that negative. But on the positive side, working remotely kind of cut down on the commuting cost from all of us. And that kind of like made us become more productive. And we have been able to really focus on the work we do. So that's sort of like the positive effect. All right.
Okay, thank you so much. Marianne?
Yeah, well, my life was very strongly impacted. We were just about to launch Wolt in Hiroshima. It was the 15th of March, I think. And then obviously the entire world started closing down. So I had to go back to Japan and start expanding and leading a business from Finland. And it took us 7 months to get back. So that was definitely the negative impact. But if we think about this globally, obviously we've been in a very lucky position as a food delivery company. We've mainly seen positive impact. Obviously not in every market. In some markets, governments have introduced very strict curfews or lockdowns where no one has been allowed on the street, or all the restaurants, for example, might have had to close after 6 p.m. even for delivery. So in some markets, that has also had a negative impact to the business.
Okay, so you were in Tokyo during March and April.
Hiroshima.
You were in Hiroshima. Why was that? Why were you in Hiroshima first?
Because we launched first in Hiroshima.
Oh, okay. Not in Tokyo. Why was that?
The reasoning for that was that we wanted to come to the market and be able to start and test in a city with a bit less competition.
Okay.
To understand if the service offering, the customer experience we're bringing to the market, and what the playbook we have built in Europe works also in Japan. And we thought that's easier to test in a bit smaller city. And then once we see the results, we can learn from those and scale faster. And that worked out pretty well for us.
This event is hosted by city of Fukuoka. So I think a lot of people, staff here will think, why not Fukuoka? But it's good to. Is it because was COVID also was influence your decision to do it first in Hiroshima, or
No, that decision was done already earlier on. But people of Fukuoka, just wait a bit longer. There's some news coming for you.
Okay, we should wait then. Okay, great. Thank you. And what will be the challenges facing your companies as a result of COVID-19? So that's my second question. Would you like to start? Inoue-san, would you like to start?
Yes. Actually, this is actually an interesting program. I talked about ourselves becoming more focused. But the flip side of that is just because we are so focused and we just work throughout the day, keep focusing, there is just no slack. And it becomes quickly very tiring, and fatigue keeps building up. So then we realized it was important to sort of like have this sort of like a void in between the focused work. So we try to create that type of slack by various means, sort of like introducing like a short break that everyone can join. For example, we even did the VIKKULA, not exactly the Finnish, it's a Swedish tradition, but everybody gather around with a cup of coffee and chocolate or candies or something to talk about things, you know, how are you doing and how's family and things like that. And also we've been doing a lot of remote team building activities. Of course, you know, we had the monthly meeting fully remote, but apart from that, we do some recreational activities such as like online gaming competition and wine tasting sessions and, you know, various things. I mean, you know, we can get creative.
Was that idea from your boss? I mean, not your boss, but like from the leaders or from the workers?
Well, employees.
Employees.
Yeah, whoever suggests something will ended up driving it. That's how things work at Reaktor. So yeah, and everybody have fun doing it.
Yes, one of the biggest problems with COVID-19 was that, I mean, online remote working was that we lost the time to have a small chat. We call this in Japanese zatsudan. It's a chat where you don't really talk about serious business, but you just talk about like weather or like the taste of coffee or like fashion that they're wearing that day. And those kind of small chats sometimes create a big idea or like innovative ideas. And I guess that the culture in Finland where you drink coffee during working time has also created that kind of new ideas and also innovations. Well, how did you cope with that, Marianne or Ida, with those kind of small chats? Can I ask Ida?
Yes, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I love that we are now embracing more of this kind of online and flexible working ways in Japan as well, which I think is very welcome here. But there is also, there's a place for the face-to-face in all cultures, I do think. We obviously, as a company, we've been kind of working remotely and online to a larger extent already beforehand. And me working in Japan, the rest of the company being in Finland, we've already had to find ways to do this. But like you just said, I think the biggest thing is exactly that, the culture building, small talk, the casual discussions. And in Japan, I think those play even more of an important meaning, because in the meetings, it can be very kind of strict and kind of stiff as well. And you're not able to reach the actual like connection building level during those times. So we've had to come up with certain things. So we've here like as a new partners a lot and building new connections. It's been a bit difficult, but we've had online nomikais and different kinds of things to kind of add up to that. And they've actually worked surprisingly well. You need to have a way to kind of facilitate that. And it helps if you've already had the first meeting face-to-face, which is always the case. But after that, it seems that you can also with Japanese, like get a concept and work around that. And I think it's actually worked pretty well.
Thank you. Marianne, did you do something new with that problem?
Well, I have to say that I also definitely missed the people at the office and working from home. You end up waking up 5 minutes before your first call, and then you're in calls for 10 hours in a row, and then you're like, okay, so what did just happen? But I know that our teams introduced quite a bit of these every other day coffee sessions or Monday coffee hours, and just time on Zoom, playing, for example, online games. So I don't think you can ever replace human face-to-face meeting, but you can try to do something in between.
Thank you. Sorry, I would go back to my the question that what were the challenges facing you two, and I'll just go back to that question. Ida, do you want to answer this?
Sure. Sort of the one that you had for INOUE-san as well.
Yes,
like
yes.
I think there will be new opportunities, but also a more demanding environment that we're kind of entering, and things are probably not going to go back to complete same kind of normal that they were, even if they will go back to a certain extent. I mean, business-wise, I think just embracing the uncertainty. I mean, as a startup, you already are in that place to begin with, but just to a larger extent. And yeah, I think I see the biggest opportunity in the way that there's now more room to challenge the existing also in Japan. For us, we kind of challenge the existing healthcare system in Finland, in Europe, in the Nordics. We can do that to quite a large extent. In Japan, we have to be a bit more careful in that sense that we can't straight up challenge it in such a large way. And we're trying to show how we can actually give and be something to complement the existing system and improve it rather than face against it. And now with these new changes that are kind of coming from the situation, and we're demanded to change the society to some extent, we, I think, also have a bit more room to challenge, because people are kind of forced to awaken to the situation that some things need to change. So that's definitely one positive thing that I hope we can make use of and actually utilize to our benefit going forward.
Thank you. Marianne, do you want to answer the question?
Yeah, I think our main challenge, or personally biggest challenge, remains the travel restrictions, to be honest.
That's true.
Something from scratch is very difficult remotely. And now that the restrictions eased a bit and I was finally able to fly here after 7 months, I have to say that the last 6 weeks in Tokyo have been some of the most rewarding in my career. So balancing that, being safe and healthy, is going to continue being a challenge.
That's true. So the next question will be, what should each company do, or what kind of mindset does each company need to have in the post-COVID-19 era? Yes, well, actually, COVID-19 is still ongoing, so I don't know if we can say post. I would say with COVID-19 era. So, what would you think will be the new normal? I will ask Marianne again.
Yeah, I think what is just really, really crucial is that companies are quick to adapt. If you think about the companies that survived well through this crisis, were the companies who adapted quickly. And I guess that's a very positive sign in the sense for startup companies that small companies are usually quick to adapt, and seeing the crisis as an opportunity. One general manager at Wolt was smart in saying that don't ever let a good crisis go to waste. So make the most out of it.
That's a great mindset. Yes. Thank you. Inoue-san.
Yes, like you said, Ito-san, we still don't know how this post-COVID-19 era is going to bring to us. We've seen the whole world changed to this new normal things, but we don't know exactly how things are going to be. I predict that it's going to be a combination of what we used to do before the pandemics in combination with like what we adapted to do during this period of time. So like Marianne said, I totally agree. You just have to be adaptive to what makes sense in the new era and just be aware of the situation and be flexible about it. Yeah, so in short, we're still figuring out what's going to happen and what we should do.
Yes, be flexible is one of the very important key points, I guess, because even though we have vaccine for COVID-19, there could be another COVID-19 or COVID, I don't know, 20. But we could have another, there's a lot of chances that we could have another virus coming. So being flexible is one of the, I totally agree that it's one of the most important things to have for the mindset. Ida, do you have any answer for this too?
Yeah, I think this has shown to us how vulnerable we can be as a society or companies or just globally in everything. And I completely agree with Marianne and Jun-san said. The flexibility and adaptability are key things going forward. And I think maybe just shifting even more focus on what kind of makes us able to be flexible and adaptable, so that we make sure that the core of the company, the culture is strong, and the things that do carry you kind of through the crises and through these times and allow you to be flexible and adaptable are the ones that we're actually making sure that they are in good condition in that sense. So yeah, have a focus on the core of your company is one thing I'd say to add to that.
Thank you so much. I would like to add this question that you three both agree on that the most important thing is going to be is being adaptable and also being flexible. But do you think that there should be something that should not change even the situation and the world is changing, building your company? What is there anything that should not change? That's my question. I would like to ask Inoue-san.
Yeah, I think one thing we really should not change or maybe put even more efforts on is to make sure we communicate enough among our teams. It becomes difficult we've seen that how things get difficult to closely communicate with our teammates under this type of situation. But like I said, we try to adapt and find new ways to communicate and share thoughts and keep on discussing what makes sense for the whole team to do. So being aware of like what others are needing and what opportunities arise and keep communicating.
Keep communicating. Thank you.
Yeah.
Marianne, do you want to add answer to that?
Well, this might be company specific. If what you do is in a huge crisis, this might not work. But for most of companies, I would say that this just increases the importance of focus. So we should not change focusing to our core, whatever the business is that you're doing. Make sure that you still continue executing and nailing on what your mission and vision is.
Thank you so much. But how do you focus on your how for example your company Wolt? How would you like focus on your core? Like, do you have any like CEOs talk like each month talking about your mission or like your vision? How do your company focus on the core?
Yes, we do have that kind of a call, but ultimately that's just a very small way to get it done. Ultimately, it's about every single team member on the ground focusing on the one thing that we have to do right, which for us is delivering the best customer experience on the market, and then filling in that piece of the puzzle that they're here to do. So obviously it's every team leader's responsibility to clarify the focus if needed. Yeah, how I would say is that obviously the CEO of a company sets the direction of the ship, but the ship won't move forward the right direction without contribution from everybody.
Thank you. Ida, what would you say that about the change? What should not change?
Yeah, I much agree to both with and Marianne in that focus, which is this situation really shows if you're lacking it. It's really comes up if that's not there, and then also the communication in these in kind of operational level and more on a mental level, it's very, very important. I'd say what also not to change and keep on doing even more is make sure that you're focusing on the core of the company. Like I said, to be able to embrace the uncertainty, you have to show how you appreciate your people. We all need to make sure that we stay health and safety, like Marianne said before, and it's a demanding task trying to keep things operational as well. But if you have people who know that they're appreciated and your values and core are in order, those people will then kind of be able to work through this kind of uncertainty and crisis as well. So keep making good to your people, I say.
Thank you very much. The next question is about this ecosystem in Finland. And when I visited Finland, I was pretty surprised with the ecosystem between the universities, students, and researchers and startup companies that they have. And the Slash was also one of the great ecosystem that Finland has. And I was also surprised that when I visited the office of Reaktor, the office itself was inside the Helsinki University's building, was it?
That's correct.
It's a new building, right? Do you want to explain what kind of building it is?
Yeah, so we are sort of like co-tenants of the same building, University of Helsinki and Reaktor. Of course, University of Helsinki does have other buildings, but the idea behind that was to sort of like create this space where students and faculties from the university can, again, communicate and meet and just chat and go to sauna together and come up with like different kind of things in the same space. Yeah.
There were gyms and also saunas and cafes and event spaces and
event spaces, auditorium. Yes.
It was kind of very wonderful place. Even I would be a stranger there, but also I could join, just go in whenever I want, and just sit there, do my work with Wi-Fi, and I was pretty amazed with that building. And what I wanted to ask is that those kind of startup ecosystem and those kind of platforms are also like the very key point of the Finland's startup ecosystem. But like with COVID-19, that kind of platform will be kind of, it's kind of a similar question, but it would be difficult to communicate with each other or keep contact with each other. So I would ask Marianne, because you were the president of Slush. How would you see the ecosystem changing after this COVID-19?
In Helsinki, to be honest, I don't think it much changes.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's unfortunate that we have to skip a few slushes and a few Arctic 15 events and so forth, but I don't think this has a radical impact towards any direction for the Helsinki ecosystem. We've already had to be very global and remote as a starting point. There's not a lot of venture capital available in Helsinki, so entrepreneurs have had to travel. I mean, now they can't travel, but have connections internationally. Now we just do maybe a bit more of that over Zoom. But yeah, I don't think this, honestly speaking, will leave a huge mark in the ecosystem.
I see. So what you're saying is that you already have the base of working or connecting remotely. So the COVID-19 change didn't really affect the ecosystem.
Yeah, not for now, at least what I see.
Do you talk with the Slush members still?
Yes, I do. I'm still in the board of the event.
Oh, okay. Well, what are their comments about this shift?
Well, obviously for event organizers, it's been a tough time. It's been a tough time for the Slush team in Helsinki as well. It meant going from building a 25,000 people event and having a 30-person team to having an 8-person team and no event whatsoever in just a matter of 6 weeks. Of course, it wasn't a great experience. But now, after a few months of working, they've established an online event just like this one, actually a series of online events. And personally, I'm really excited. It's kind of going back to the roots. You're building something from scratch and you can do it all over again, remove all the failures or mistakes. Things that were kind of didn't work, you have the opportunity to build them all over again. It's not easy. Nothing's easy when you do it for the first time, but it's also exciting.
I was reading your interview actually in Forbes Japan. We have your interview article, and then the interviewer asked you why does Slush have the event on the worst season of the year, and your answer was really nice. You said that, well, that is Slush. Slush from the beginning has to be different from others. So I guess, like as you said, you said that it's exciting that you are facing a new challenge and Slush is going to a next stage. So that kind of mindset is also like I think people already have that kind of mindset in the ecosystem. So it's not very huge tragic tragedy for them, I guess. Do you want to add something?
I was just saying that I would say that it probably feels like a huge tragedy for a while for the team. Yes. So I'm not trying to make it sound only good. It wasn't easy, but I think we've mainly attracted people who try to look at the positive and the bright side of everything.
Great, thank you. Inoue-san and Ida, do you also feel that you also joined that kind of part of the ecosystem in Finland?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, like I said, we're now maybe a bit further as a company in that sense. We more maybe a scale up at this point, but it's not far in that sense. And I think we've benefited immensely from the sort of strong basis and all the different things that we have around this ecosystem in Finland. So plus to mention, we've been there several years and really played that as a part of our activities throughout the year and getting into the market and building up the company and everything. So I think for Finland, the good part is that the basis is very strong. So even with the COVID and like shifties like this, it will kind of maintain, and it was just pivot. And in Finland, companies and all these are used to the remote working, flexible way of working much more than in Japan. So the shift has been much easier in that sense, also for the companies. So you just like do 5 remote days instead of 1 or 2 in the week. And of course it changes and people are craving to see each other face to face as well. But it's like, it's an easy change compared to what it was in Japan, where a lot of companies had no remote working opportunities whatsoever. So I'm kind of happy that Japan has been forced into this mode now, a bit like by force, but still, I think it's very good.
Yes, I was interviewing another person who has also worked abroad. He's Japanese, and he said that if there was no COVID-19, it would take 20 or 30 years for Japan to go to this kind of online remote working situation. So, well, of course, there are people infected, so you can't say it's 100% positive. But if you look at that side, that is kind of a positive side as a working style in Japan, I guess. Inoue-san, do you often go to Helsinki before COVID-19?
Not very often, and probably I should be visiting more often.
Okay.
And maybe to answer your question, maybe my answer may not be spot on, but when I first visited Helsinki, I was quite surprised with, it's a very active, vibrant startup ecosystem, and Reaktor being non-startup stage, still acting like startup. I was quite amazed, and it was super interesting. But I was thinking, like, why is it so different? Look at us in Japan. Of course, startup ecosystem is growing, but what's the difference? I mean, Finland being so small country in comparison to Japan, but where does this difference come from? And somebody told me, well, Finland being a small country had to look at the global market from day one, because the domestic market size is limited and it just does not scale. And that kind of like made a lot of sense to me. Yeah. And here in Japan, we have a pretty big domestic market, and it's a good business selling things and providing service to only Japanese consumers. And yeah, so that difference was quite interesting to me.
Yes, the situation that the company is facing is already different. So that shapes that ecosystem too, I guess. But so
it's a mindset.
And also, if you are surrounded by university students who are looking for startups and venture companies, I guess that even though you are not in the startup stage, you feel that you are with them and have that kind of startup mindset. And sorry, we only have 1 minute left. That was very short. Actually, in the last question, I wanted to ask about the sauna culture, which is a very hot topic in Japan too right now. A lot of startup business leaders go to sauna. And they also, before this year, they also visited Finland a lot to experience the real sauna. So maybe at the networking session, we could ask about that to you three, or if you have additional questions, there is a networking space. So we would like to see you there. So thank you so much, Inoue-san, Marianne, and Ida.
Thank you. Thank you,
so
everyone.
much.
Thank you so much. We will see you later on. Bye.
See you in a
Thank
bit.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.